Hello, everyone. Welcome to another night of our Eventide patrons only stream. How is everyone doing here this fine Tuesday? I'm happy to be joining you this Tuesday. Sorry I missed last Tuesday because of this damnable freelance. Although I will say that I turned over another chunk of it today. And by saying I turned over another chunk of it, I still have one chunk left. This last chunk is the smallest chunk, though. So, unlike the previous ones, which were, 10,000 and 20,000 words, 25,000 words, this last one's like 5 to 7. So, manageable. Should be able to get it done. Felt comfortable enough to do a stream here tonight. Still got a busy week ahead of me to get it all done, but that means we're on pace to start getting things back up and running on kind of a more full production schedule on Eventide here soon. So, oh boy, it's been a day. One thing that I am thinking about is, I am looking at the Patreon, and how it's been going, and frankly, it's been dwindling. The number of folks who support is at kind of almost a historic low. Except for when it kind of went fallow for quite some time, and I wasn't charging anyone anyway at that point. So there's some challenges with shifting things up. First of all, my first priority is to make sure that all of you who have supported me all this time feel like you've gotten that your patronage has not gone unrewarded. I've been doing that, but there's always more. Frankly, a lot of you have word counts built up. Those of you at the highest tier have a bunch of words built up. I'll be getting full summaries of that. When I go forward with the change, a lot of things will probably happen. Some of the things will change around. Things will probably get cheaper, frankly. Not that I don't appreciate the kind contributions you have all made to me and to this project, but I know that that's a barrier to entry. And I'd like to have more people. So that is one thing I'm thinking about. One thing that today illuminated is the Patreon, when it does kind of change over to be more about just the games that I'm enjoying, the games that I'm working on, the things that I'm passionate about, that'll open up opportunities for me to talk about card games I've been designing and other role-playing games I'm tinkering around with and things like that, where we can explore those things and work on them. But it will also allow me to do streams where I just kind of talk about the news of the day in the industry and stuff, which could be kind of fun. Today, Darrington Press released Daggerheart, the playtest for Critical Role's new RPG. I have thoughts. And there's definitely a lot of good stuff in there. There's some things that I'm like, well, that's a choice. And then there's some reaction stuff today that just frankly drove me kind of nuts, with people being like, look at this innovative thing they've done. And I'm like, that's been in the industry for 20 years. That's not good. And that doesn't mean it isn't good. It's just, come on. like, please, we do not need to heap more praise on Critical Role. They get plenty, and it's well deserved. But we don't need to heap praise on them for things that they didn't actually do. That's not necessary. So, for those of you who do have word count, I know that there are some questions about what can I do with my word count. Can I get, and I'm going to provide kind of a menu that allows you to cash it out in a lot of different ways. So it's not just going to be Jason writes a thing for you. It could be Jason creates a character for you for PFS. It could be if you have enough, Jason runs a one-shot for you and your friends. So, yeah, Alara, that was the I will not be a cranky game designer comment. I don't want to pee on anyone's parade, right? I mean, that's at the heart of it. Like, some of this stuff is just like, yeah, I'll tell you the thing that specifically got me. You're my patrons. You get to know this stuff. And I want to be 100% clear. None of this is being said with malice or like sour grapes or anything like that. Critical Role is a huge phenomenon in our industry. There are times where it does kind of feel like the popular kids showed up and took over our hobby, but I fight that pretty well personally. I get how some people feel that way, because they came in with TV expertise and it's a bunch of skilled comedians playing D&D, and rightfully so. They're very entertaining. But now that they're starting to make RPGs, there is some wings in the industry that's like, all right, come on. like, and I get that, for some of us, it's weird because this industry is one that's mostly a hobby and cottage industry. So it's not like there's professional degrees or anything. So what makes them any more qualified to be a game designer than me? Nothing, because there isn't anything that makes me qualified to do it other than my passion for doing it, and they clearly have a passion. So there's nothing wrong with that. What got me today was some people being super excited about the way they did their character sheets, how they've got character sheets and then they've got this explainer piece of paper behind it that you can slide to one side or slide to the other side that kind of has explainers for the thing that's on your character sheet. And the number of comments I saw that were like, this is the most innovative thing ever. And I'm like, it's a tooltip. It's just on a different piece of paper. And I get how there is an element to that that's like, well, you can slide underneath it. It's not cluttering up your play space. But also, like, you know, I made a beginner box 12 years ago that had that. It was just on 11 by 17 and the tooltips were on the side. That's it. That's it. There's nothing special about it. It's not like it's... I don't want to pretend that it's not a cool little thing, because it is a cool little thing. But it's not a cool little thing that they invented, right? It doesn't need that. It's fine. It's fine. Fine. I'm just cranky about it. I don't know. Sometimes things rub me the wrong way in ways that don't make any sense. I was just like, ah. Anyway, so that's that story. I won't tell that story in public. I'll tell them. But no, it's not a big deal. And clearly there's you know, I haven't fully flipped through the book yet. I've been working all day. But I did absorb a bit of it and how their system works. I actually really like how their die mechanic works. It's basically a 2d12 system. With one die being kind of good and one die being kind of bad, but you still add them both together. You just don't want the bad die to beat the good die. Which is interesting, but also, you know, those are going to swing back and forth pretty evenly. With a die size that big, I haven't run the numbers yet, but I can only imagine that. I mean, it's not going to be 50-50 because sometimes the dice will tie. But I haven't run the numbers to see what the actual distribution of that is to see it. It's going to be even on both sides with some percentage being in the middle, but I haven't run the numbers yet. So mathematically, that's kind of interesting. But it's all target number based stuff. And frankly, I'm kind of surprised at how kind of techy it actually is for a game that's clearly made for stream capability. Right, it's clearly a thing built for streaming. So, well, yeah, I think, you know, the thought that I'm having right now is that, frankly, Critical Role's audience, not all of them, but a good chunk of them are very new folks, and they don't know the history of the game. They don't even know other games, and a lot of them aren't gamers at all. So, you know, whatever, that's fine. Again, I'm not actually angry about it. I had to fight back cranky old game designer that's just like, come on, folks, that's not new. But you know, it's also not my job to go around and, you know, what is it, yuck other people's yum? I think that was this may be a thing that Glass can't. Don't yuck somebody else's yum. No reason to do it. Right? Whatever. No skin off. So, anyway, that's that. So, you know, but I do think that in the future, this Patreon might be a way for me to, I don't want to say critique, because honestly, I'm not the type of person who's going to tear down somebody else's work. That's just not a thing I'm into. But, you know, I will honestly review a thing and be like, these are its good points, these are its bad points, you know, but I think there's a difference. I'm pretty good at being able to look at a game and find its good points, even when I personally, like, my personal opinion isn't that the game is good. You know, for example, I actually think there are good facets to, like, you know, I'll just pick the obvious stocking horse here. Monopoly. It's a game that most people look at and go, that's a terrible game. Everybody lasts too long, everybody ends up in an argument, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, yeah, but it's got a number of things to it that are actually pretty foundational and pretty important and pretty well done. You know, the way the scaling works, the way that the monetary system is kind of built, the way it forces players to haggle and cooperate with each other to some extent while still being competitive. There's a lot of things to like about it, even if ultimately I don't like it. Like, I don't want to play it. But, yeah. Anyway, I digress. The point is, I think the future of this Patreon will involve some of that. It'll involve deep dives into my designs. It'll involve discussions about my design philosophies. I think it'll be a chance to explore meta concepts and look at, what I think about game design and how it all functions. And frankly, it'll be a good way for me to deliver kind of new concepts and use Patreon folks as playtesters for new things. I just think there's a lot of opportunity there that, because of my narrow focus on getting this project done, I've been leaving off the table. And as I go forward, I'm starting to think that needs to be a bigger part of what I do. Especially since, I don't spend as much time these days going to conventions and, giving panel speeches, which is oftentimes a lot of this stuff. So, I'm not saying I'm going to turn it into a talk show or anything like that. That's a bridge too far. But I do think that there's something here that could be kind of fun. Anyway, I'm going to leave that for there right now. I'm still committed to getting Eventide stuff done and out the door in whatever form that ends up taking. So here today, what I thought we would do, we had over 30 minutes here before I want to call it quits. I'm going to hop over to Twitch after we're done with this. Oh, all right. So, what I want to do here today is, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and open up this. We're going to go back to the Eventide Player's Guide. Grab my webcam. We're going to move me down to the corner here. There we are. That'll do. So one thing that I'm playing around with here, we've gone through this. This is the remastered version of this doc, and I've gone through it, and we've made all the remastered changes. I feel like those are by and large done. Tonight I was going to be like, hey, I'll actually start making the changes to remaster Wolfrun's Fate. But until the Monster Core is out, I don't want to touch that module. Once Monster Core is out, I can do all the stuff. We can open up the PDFs together. We can work on it. Until that's done, I don't want to touch it. Until that's out. But it does come out soon. So, that'll help. Really excited for folks to get Monster Core. There's so much cool stuff in it. So today, what I think we would do is, in particular, there's one system in here that I want to play around with. So, here's all the lore. Most of that stuff is fine. Nothing here really needs to change. I probably want to do a proofing pass on all this stuff just to make sure all of it meets my current understandings. I don't really think there's much in any of this stuff that needs to be fixed or adjusted. But then we get down into the rules. So there is one part of the rules in here that I still haven't fixed. I still haven't solved. There's actually a couple, but the big one is Destiny. So hold on, I'm moving way too slow. Let me hop down here to Destiny. Come here. Okay. Here we are. Cap, that's fantastic. A lot of folks have been getting, that's another thing. Elemental stones I'm super excited about. I don't know that I'll be using a lot of my patron streams to be talking about my work projects, but I think once they're out, they kind of become more fair game for me to talk about, generally speaking. I don't know that I want to be putting, anything Paizo related kind of behind a paywall. That seems kind of messy to me. But generally kind of talking about a thing. I don't necessarily want to do a deep dive, but like, Elemental Stones is pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with how it came out. I'm really excited for folks to get a chance to play. So I got a note here in Destiny, and you all can't see the comment. But basically, the note is Destiny needs an adjustment. And last year we kind of looked at this and made some notes on it about maybe this could become a way for you to regain a hero point when you're out of hero points, that your destiny inspires you and gets you a hero point. That maybe the destined skill check thing, if you succeed, you maybe don't spend the hero point. Yeah. So there's things like that. And then all the special abilities need kind of a performance pass. They're not all up to snuff. So let's take a look at this system here in depth, because I really do want to figure out what went wrong with this system and fix it. Because I like Destiny a lot. I think it's a good part of the character story. It's an element to add, something that isn't quite so statistic based into your character build. It's more about the choice that you make about what you want your destiny to be, and that can give you some fun stuff to play with. So most of these, you know, are here's a skill check or a saving throw or something that you can spend, that you can make destin checks on. It's got anathema, which is, you know, become a much bigger part of the remaster. And I almost think I want to add oh, come on. Come on, brain. Tuesday night brain is getting me pretty hard here right now. Let me look at edicts. Why couldn't I think of the word edict? So I almost think these want edicts and anathema. And right now they just have anathema. And then they have a special ability. Yeah, you got it. So the all right. At the start of play, you select the destiny and work it into your character story. Yada yada yada. Later in the game, you might find the GM offers you a new destiny based on the events in the story. After witnessing a friend being consumed by fallen dead, you might be offered the sacred destiny, giving you a renewed purpose to defeat undead, no matter where you find them. When destiny is offered to you in this way, you can choose to take it, or you can keep your original destiny. Nothing can force you to take a destiny that is not the right fit for your character. So this is always kind of a thing that's in player control. It's a thing you choose. When you call upon your destiny, each destiny has a specific skill check or check that you can call upon in times of need. Whenever you're about to make that check, you can spend a hero point and roll 2 times, taking the better result and adding a +2 bonus to the total. This is a fortune effect. In addition, each destiny has a special ability that you can use by spending a hero point. This ability is described in each destiny. So, that's the heart of it, right? But I almost think I have seen this used so infrequently that clearly it's not really working as intended. Now, part of it might be... sorry about that. I've fallen everywhere. Part of this is... then there's rules for completing or adding a new destiny. That's fine. That's simple stuff. So let's just take a deep dive into one of these here. And kind of analyze it and see where we can make this better. So, Blessed. Although you may not know it, there's a divine power looking out for you, urging you to walk the path and follow its beliefs. Over the course of your adventure, this power might reveal itself to you, or you might stumble upon it during your journey, but you are destined to find a way into the blessings of this faith. Alternatively, you may have been groomed from an early age as a devotee of this faith, being taught from the outset that you are special, and now you must live up to those standards of the faith, and that alone may be more than you can bear. In the end, whether you become the ideal of this faith is up to you, but as long as it is not yet decided and it is still part of your future. But so long as it is not yet decided and still is a part of your future. Come on. Grammar. Where are you at? This destiny is for you. Destin check. Religion checks that pertain to your sponsor. Rule saving throws against incapacitation effects that will control your actions. Anathema. This destiny's anathema is the same as those for your patron deity, although you may not know them at first. Violating an anathema that you do not know usually comes with a reduced penalty. So... Anathema up here are described in abandoning your destiny. Each destiny has an anathema. Whenever you willfully perform the anathema of your destiny, you lose access to that destiny and its bonuses for 1 week. Continuing to do so might cause you to lose your destiny permanently. And then it talks about abandoning it. So let's look at one of our deity descriptions and see if that helps us understand. We go up here to cleric, And the Edicts and Anathema of Valinab. Edicts bring order to that which is in chaos, tame the wild world, and make it a better place for all. Support the law and those who uphold it. Anathema, break the law, tell lies, intentionally cause panic, or work to unseat the lawful and justly appointed ruler. Justly appointed ruler. Consort with creatures of pure chaos. Sure. Pure order sounds weird. Value order above all. So yeah, I guess, you know, when I'm looking at something like this, Destiny wants to do a couple things. The skill bonus thing is just not something, it's so niche that I just don't see it being used at all. Because no one wants to spend their hero points to roll a check twice before they know the outcome, right? So that the challenge with this is that hero points are so good for rerolling a roll that goes very bad. They don't see much use being used. You know, they don't get much use when you're first rolling. People are more willing to let the dice roll where they may and then hold the hero point in reserve for later. So the way this currently works, it just doesn't. No one uses it for that effect. So I think it needs to go. So calling upon destiny. During play, you can call upon your destiny in a few different ways. Each destiny has a specific skill or check that, you know, frankly, let's cut it there. Let me go ahead and just put a return in here. We'll just leave this text down here. Each destiny has a skill or check that inspires you along your destined path. Whenever you score a critical success on your destinies specific skill or check while you are at 0. Oh, sorry. You regain 1 hero point. So each destiny has a specific skill or check that inspires you along your destined path. Whenever you score a critical success on your destiny's skill or check, you regain 1 hero point. This is only applies when you are at 0 points, and only if the check happens boy, I what I'm trying to get at here is I don't want you to farm medicine checks to get hero points. To get a hero point. I mean, I don't want to say during combat, because some skills aren't useful in combat, so that would really limit it. I mean, maybe if it's just only when you're at 0 hit points, it doesn't matter. But I boy, and only if it is a dramatic part of the story. Subject to GM discretion. For example, using medicine, heal an ally after a fight could very well fly, but using medicine to attempt to diagnose everyone around you just to try and score critical hit certainly would. I may need to come up with a better example, but that's kind of where I'm getting at. Let me look at the medicine skill and just, you know, look for a usage of it that makes sense. Medicine. Here we are. Athletics, diplomacy, come too far. Come back here. Administer first aid, treat disease, treat poison, treat. Maybe that's. No, I think the way to do this is to. We're using medicine to. So, let me reread that. For example, using medicine to heal an ally after a fight could very well apply, but using medicine to recall knowledge about the names of the bones of the body certainly. There we go. So that, I think that works better. Okay. In addition, if you use a hero point on to re-roll your destiny's specific skill back, your reroll made it +2 bonus. So we'll keep the bit. What I'm doing is we're keeping the bit where if you use it to reroll your chosen skill or check, because sometimes they're saving those stuff. Your reroll is made with a +2, so you do get a bonus. You still get the bonus if you use it on that, but now scoring a critical success on one of those checks can get you a hero point. Here's the thing. I guess the question is it so niche that players are going to forget? Not sure. Maybe. So it would still be a fortune effect, but I don't have to call out that it is a fortune effect because the reroll itself is a fortune. So, in fact, if I specifically called this out as a fortune effect, you then maybe it would create a rules confusion where you may not get it because the reroll itself is a fortune. So, I'm just going to make it an addendum to an ability that it is already defined. Okay. All right. I'm going to leave the note there. Let's come down here and look back at this. So, blessed. Destined check. What do I call it? Do I have consistent language here? Each destiny has one or more destined checks. These specific skill checks. Destined checks are tied to your destiny, and they inspire you on your path. Whenever you score a critical success on a destined check, you gain 1 hero point. This applies only when you're at 0 hero points. Sorry, for example, blah blah blah. In addition, if you use a hero point to re-roll, this is just cleaner language. A destined check, the re-roll is made with a +2 bonus. All right, and then finally, each destiny has a special ability used by spending a hero point. This ability is described. Okay. Good. Cleaner. Better. Stronger language. Improvement all around. Okay. So, blessed. Religion skill checks that pertain to your sponsor. Okay. Will saving throws against incapacitation effects that would control your actions. That's pretty narrow, right? Religion checks. I mean, could it just be religion checks? Is that too good? Let's look at some of the other ones. Saving throws against incapacitation or fear effects. See, that's not much. Any saving throw made after the initial saving throw in effect. These are pretty narrow. Perception checks made to impersonate an ordinary person, not an individual, and stealth checks made to hide. See, this one happens all the time. So under this new paradigm, these are all, frankly, kind of screwy. So let's think about something specific. For this to be useful, it's going to need to be relatively uniform across them. So that means I'm going to need to either come up with some sort of rubric that's like, okay, all of them get like a skill check, and it's just generic. It's like, yeah, you get religion. That's it. Period. Any religion check, because that is you leaning into your destiny of being blessed, right? So it could just be. I'm just going to play around with this here. So let me create a second one. Destined check. Religion. Right? I could just do that. Religion skill checks. And then, it could still be something specific and narrow. But I think, I don't want, it to be all will saving throws, because that's something too common. But also these ones that, like, will saving throws against incapacitation effects that would control your actions. Well, first of all, I'm not sure that the coding on those even works anymore, because not all incapacitation effects control your actions. So, like, let me look at Confusion. No longer has the incapacitation trait, or maybe it never did. Whereas I'm pretty sure Paralyzed does. Yeah, Paralyzed does. So, I almost want it to be mental effects that control your actions. So it would apply to things like command. That makes it much more versatile. So what if it was religion skill checks and will Saving throws against mental effects that control your actions. And that's it. So it's one thing you have player agency over, and it's one thing you kind of don't. Maybe that's the way. I feel like if I give you multiple things that are all within your agency, that's just generally stronger. So let me leave that one here for just a sec. Let me go ahead and just highlight them. There we go. They're yellow now. So, Defender. It's all about holding your ground, doing, you know, taking the hit. So if I have to find a skill check for this, it would be... And I suppose because there's multiple, it should have an S. This might be... Athletics? Skill check? And then... saving throws against incapacitation effects and fear effects. The fear effects are a pretty narrow subset of mental. Incapacitation tends to be a pretty slim piece of mental as well, although not always. I think there are some incapacitation effects that are not. I think. Right? I don't think. I don't think web has infestation. Oh, that's right. Web isn't in here. What a world I live in. But blindness. There's one. Blindness has incapacitation, but it's fortitude. So, keeping that one not specific to will, whereas all mentals are will. I'm pretty sure. Can't imagine there being any mentals that are not will, that if they have a save at all. So this one might be something more like that. Huh. Let me do a few more. Doomed. You are born under an ill omen. Your life is sure to come to a bad end, yet you carry on. In fact, knowing that nothing ever seems to go your way is freeing in a way. Because the outcome of most chances you take is already known, and when one happens to work out, it is a genuine surprise. This destiny does not mean that you are fated to die in some gruesome way, but it does generally mean that your goals will never be fully realized, and that in the end you will never be fully fulfilled. Everything you create will be forgotten and lost in time. You might find that this foul fortune is due to an outside source, like a curse or a disfavor of a deity, and that with the right act of contrition, it might be lifted, allowing you to... with the right act. Look at that. Okay, so I do like the Destin check here. That I like that piece of it. But I do want to add a skill check. Now the question is, what skill check do I put with Doomed? Boy, medicine? Are these all? What should say? Survival check, diplomacy, society, medicine, will saves, diplomacy, intimidation, saving throw, blah blah. Skill checks made to recall knowledge. Checks made to escape some stuff. Attack rolls. There's one that's got to change. That's way too good. Attack rolls. Yeah, did you score an attack roll? Get a hero point back. That's way too good. Okay. So most of these are skill saves and saving throws. So if most of them are that, maybe they should all be that. Each destiny has one or more destiny checks. Skill checks or saving throws. Well, I mean, I could. I could make it more generic. And for some of them, maybe that's the right answer. Right? So maybe the right answer for some of them is you get to choose. But for others, it's not. For others, it's locked in place. And maybe that is a balancing act. Right? So this Doomed one, for example. Destined check. Any saving throw made after the initial saving throw against an effect is pretty rare. So, like, it could be that this one is just so rare that it gives you flexibility on the build. Huh. Maybe. Maybe. I'm going to put that in. It's just a placeholder. Let's see. Let's see how it feels. Destin checks. Any one skill choice. And saving throws made after the initial saving throw against an effect. That's pretty good. For some of these, that might make sense. So here... this could be stealth checks made to hide, perception checks made to impersonate an ordinary person. I mean, both of those are pretty good. Trying to think it through whether or not letting them pick a skill is just broken. Because some skills are inherently better than others. Like, and that's by design, right? I mean, not all skills are created equal. Does this just mean folks are using it to spam their best skill or a skill that's easy for them? And I'm worried that that is. But I mean, some of these are harder to even use in a dramatic or interesting fashion, according to the data. Which means taking one of those just means you don't get to use it as often. That's a problem. Just a pickle. A real pickle. Boy, I don't know. let's see. Even if I did continue playing this out, so let me just rapid fire through some of this here while we've got only a few minutes here. Forgotten. Deception skill checks made to impersonate an ordinary person, and stealth checks made to hide. Both those are good. It doesn't have a saving throw. If I were going to follow format, I would need to find a saving throw. But there aren't too many saving throws to avoid being detected or, like, you know, or to, you know, I mean, you get a saving throw against scrying and stuff like that. But boy, is that's about as niche as it comes. Homesick. Fortitude saves made against any effect that would cause you to be fatigued or slowed. Okay, that's pretty common. Escape artist checks on against various conditions. Survival checks. Yeah. Well, therein lies the question. I mean, it could also be that maybe the destined check itself is just a bad idea. This does happen, right? That maybe all that these are is an anathema and a special ability, right? Things that you shouldn't do and a special ability you get. Huh. Maybe the destined check itself is just flawed. Possible. But even then, if we look at all the special abilities, they're not created equal either, right? You know, take the hit. An enemy successfully strikes your charge. The person you're trying to protect. Spend a hero point if you're adjacent to your target or 30 feet of it. Location, the strike is redirected. Instead, you take all the damage and enemy effects. Strike might occur. The strike against the target would have been a critical success. It is a success against you instead. If the strike requires a saving throw, you must make this saving throw normal. You know, that's it. Just redirects the attack to you. Whereas Doomed says an enemy successfully strikes you, you have long learned to lean into your destiny, and that by doing so you can either better accept the punishment it has in store for you. Spend a hero point. The strike does the minimum amount of damage, treating every die roll 1. If it's a critical hit, the ability instead reduces melee success and the damage. The Doomed one is better than the Protector one, right? Than the Defender one. It just is. Redirecting an attack to you is handy, but is not the end-all be-all. It doesn't actually change the dynamics of combat, whereas this does. Blend into a crowd just lets you disappear into a crowd, and that's pretty limited in its usefulness. Homesick says, you know, you start your turn and you're affected by conditions. You spend a hero point and select one of the conditions. And then for your turn, you can ignore that condition. Great when you're, you know, incapacitated. So yeah, I mean, ultimately, like, here's the thing: we've been banging our head against this for a while now, but I don't think we've come up with a solution. I do like how this is put together. I just don't know that the individual checks are really working out where I want. Boy, I could noodle with this for another hour. But I'm out of time. Let me go ahead and save this. I don't hate it. I just want to keep noodling on it. It's not there yet. It's one of those complicated things. I'm almost tempted to get rid of the destined checks entirely. Keep the anathema. Maybe add some edict. And then do a hardcore balance pass on all the abilities to make them fun. Maybe that's the way. Maybe there's even a Destiny Realized kind of thing that you can unlock later if you actually. Maybe there's a feat that you can take later if you finish out your Destiny. Maybe. Maybe. Just more things to design. All right. Come here. Whoop. I don't know why I needed to make this back. Okay. Let me make sure that's saved. Close it for now. Yeah, I don't know. All I know is this. Destiny has been in both of the playtest campaigns and no one ever used it. I got a couple questions about it and maybe a reroll. But that was it. Now, it could just be that my characters didn't really latch onto it, and I didn't emphasize it enough, so it's possible that I have some flawed biased data, but I don't know. I can't say that for sure. All I can say for sure is that I want to thank all of you for hanging out with me here tonight. This has been fun. I want to keep doing this, obviously. I want to thank you all for your support. It means the world to me. It really does. I'm hoping that this is a return to form and that you'll see me again next week. I think I'm on track to finally be done with this freelance project in the next couple of days. Fingers crossed. I've said that before, but hey, we're getting there. We're getting there. I've made progress. Several thousand words. I wrote 3,000 words yesterday. All right, folks. That's all I got here tonight. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for your support. I look forward to chatting with you again next time. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you